Democrats are acting like cheating boyfriends right now. I'm sorry, but somebody's got to say it. I'm independent. I think there's good ideas on both sides. There's bad ideas on both sides. But what this Doge audit is reminding me of is like a girl taking her boyfriend's phone and like hiding in the bathroom. And the Democrats are just banging on the door. And they're like, you are invading my privacy. You can't go through my phone. And Elon Musk is like, yes, I can. I can see what you've been up to. And then every time Musk comes out of the bathroom, he's like, look, see what you did? They just turn it around and they're like, you invaded my privacy. This was your fault. You broke my trust.
I think I'm hypocritical.
She's got to go get in her big black taxpayer-funded SUV.
Oh yeah, that's what happens when you're a member of Congress.
That's what happens when you don't have transparency in the government. Why do you deserve a big black taxpayer-funded SUV? Is that why you're so against Doge? Is that what the problem is? What's up with the lack of transparency in your... What's the problem with transparency? Who the fuck are you? Why are you pushing? What is the problem with Doge? What is the problem with... Shut the fuck up.
I think I'm hypocritical.
To shut down.
Senator Warren, why are you so afraid of transparency? Why are you bothered by the fact that Elon Musk is attempting to expose all of this fraudulent spending? What is that about? What is the problem here? What is the problem with transparency? Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Senator Warren, I just want to answer a question. How did you get a $12 million net worth on a $200,000 salary in Congress? How did you do that?
Excuse me.
How did you do that? You can keep trying to block my camera. We're on a public sidewalk, so... Get off of me. So you don't want to answer that question. What is it about Doge that's such a problem to you? You just elbowed me, Senator. I got that on camera.
Excuse us. Thank you.
Transparency is your enemy.
Shout out, excuse me. Shout out to Nick Sortor. I'm sure I'm butchering that. I apologize. Here, I'll put it on the screen. You can see his name right there at the top of your top right-hand corner of your screen right there on X. That's where both of those clips came from. Calling out both the Wicked Witch of the West, Maxine Waters, and the hypocrite, one of the biggest hypocrites of them all, Elizabeth Warren. Because as you saw there, he was calling them both out on the government corruption. And what is the issue with Elon exposing where our money is going? Why are Democrats so angry about this? You know, it doesn't really take a genius to figure out why they're so angry, you know, because not long ago, Elizabeth Warren had a different tone about government corruption. Not very long ago. As a matter of fact, it was just in 2009 that she said this.
Well, when that much money disappears, it's usually because somebody broke some laws somewhere.
When that kind of money disappears, it's usually because somebody broke some laws somewhere. So when you have a situation where all of these folks, you look back and they were saying something completely different, and I just showed an example of it. As a matter of fact, I have another example of John Stewart, who was basically saying the same thing. And yet now all of these folks are either silent, you know, not saying anything, or they're fake outrage and making up a bunch of BS. And notice that, and I keep calling this out because I want people to pay attention to this, because it's so blatant, so blatant. Whenever they try to fake outrage against Elon, they never mention the corruption. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. They always just say, well, Elon's going to steal your money. Well, now they don't, because they found out that people weren't buying that crap. Elon's worth almost $500 billion. I mean, his net worth is like 400 billion and some change. I don't think Elon needs to steal money from any of us. Let's be real here. I mean, once you reach that type of net worth, like, what can't you buy? You know what I mean? Like, you don't need any more at that point. You're just creating businesses that create so much value that your net worth just continues to explode, right? You don't need any more cash after you reach $500 billion. So I'm not concerned about Elon stealing money. As a matter of fact, Scott Bessent the Treasury, the guy that, goodness gracious, I'm losing train of thought, had a Mitch McConnell moment there for a second. Scott Bessent came out and said that, hey, Elon doesn't have the ability to edit or change anything. The people that Elon hired to work with him, these people that mainstream media is trying to dox, it's a read-only program. They can only read certain things. They can't make any type of edits. But I want to play this clip for you guys of Jon Stewart basically saying the same thing that Elizabeth Warren said. But notice that a lot of these folks are just awkwardly silent now.
To be doing, like, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing. So let's decompose these
Then please
pieces
educate me on
Sure.
what
So an audit is
difference
exactly what you just described,
Yes.
which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false right there. So
what is
now
it
it's a question
of?
It's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where. That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So.
Okay. So how about we just all go to the IRS? Whenever the IRS tries to audit us, we just say, I don't know. I don't know where that money came from. I don't know where that money went. Can't tell you. What the hell is going to happen to us? Oh, man. You know, that type of logic is the reason why we're in this situation right now. People making up a bunch of BS excuses. The fact that you can't pass an audit doesn't mean that there's corruption. Why can't you pass an audit? Well, because we can't pull up the list of things. Why can't you? You haven't passed a single audit yet, and you mean to tell me nobody's changed anything? Nobody has been like, okay, well, let's make sure we track all of this. Why isn't it all being tracked? Why hasn't somebody just stood up and said, you know what, let's track all of this? So either it's a bunch of idiots running the place, or there's a bunch of corruption, so they don't want to keep track of anything. It's one of the two. There's no in between. Just saying. But listen to what Jon Stewart had to say.
In my world,
Yeah.
that's waste.
How is that waste?
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think? And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you and that you caused this, but I think it's a tough argument to
I'm pretty
make
sure I
that
didn't cause it.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for. And especially when they see food insecurity on military bases, and they see.
You want to talk about that? Because that's a good, we should be talking. I mean,
Well,
I'm trying to understand where you're trying to go, other than the dollars, which really bother you.
I think it does.
I'm trying to understand where you're trying to go. You understand where he's going with it. Don't go with that. That's that whole, I'm nervous. Stop it now. I don't really have a great answer. I'm trying to understand where you're going with this, you know? To me, that's like a nervous thing. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. Like, I feel like I've seen people say stuff like that before when they're getting grilled about something. Well, I'm trying to understand where you're going with this. You perfectly understand where the person is going with it. That's why you're saying something like that, and you're trying to stop them and shift them in a different direction. But maybe I'm crazy. Y'all let me know.
It doesn't really bother me. I think it's all connected.
Okay.
I think
tell
I
tell
look.
me that story. Tell me how you're thinking about that.
When I see a State Department get a certain amount of money and a military budget be 10 times that, and I see a struggle within government to get people like more basic services, and then that department that got that. I mean, we got out of 20 years of war and the Pentagon got a $50 billion raise. Like, that's shocking to me. Now, I may not understand exactly the ins and outs and the incredible magic of an audit, but I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps. Like, to me, that's fucking corruption. I'm sorry. And if that blows your mind, and if you think like that's like a crazy agenda for me to have, I really think that that's institutional thinking, and that it's not looking at the day-to-day reality of the people that you call the greatest fighting force in the world. So I get back to this idea of like, I'm not looking to pick a fight with you, but I am surprised at that the reaction to these questions are, you don't know what an audit is, bucko. Like, that's just weird to me.
Okay.
Because there's corruption. That's why. You don't know what an audit is. You're trying to steal my money. You're trying to steal taxpayer social security numbers. So we're just gonna skip over the 50 million to Gaza for condoms? We're gonna skip over these millions of dollars that have gone to these other places? We're just gonna skip over how USAID defied Trump's executive order and was still trying to send out money? Because if you guys don't know, that's how USAID became the top target. Elon Musk said, hey, which obviously Elon Musk is a very smart individual, the way he picked out who he was going to go after first was he sat back and he looked around and waited to see who tried to move money after Donald Trump said freeze on everything. Well, who's still trying to move money? Oh, USAID over there. I see you guys are still trying to send some payments to all these different places. I know where I need to go. They put themselves in the target. If they just would have followed orders, the executive order from the president, maybe Elon might not have took a peek over there. Maybe he would have looked over here at this other place that, tried to move just a little small amount of money and would have went after this program first, right? Or this organization first. But no, the corruption runs deep. So much so that they would defy a president's executive order. Kind of funny how that works. Once again, Democrats shooting themselves in the foot, right? So Trump deranged that they got themselves put on Elon's target. Oh, Trump issued an executive order. Oh, we're going to defy it. No, we don't listen to that guy. Okay, well, now you got Elon in your building. Congratulations. You played yourself. But I also want to play this clip from Joe Rogan because he has been spot on with this stuff recently. Spot on.
What I worry about is how much this is where I get mad at the media for presenting this like, this is Hitler. We're having it notched up to 11 for the past 8 years. And now you've got this because he was put in, it's almost like that energy has been transferred to Elon now. Because now, did you see the Elon protests? They're protesting Elon. They're literally standing out there with signs that say, arrest Elon Musk.
Listen, I guarantee it's organized. I guarantee it's organized by the same people that are going to lose a shitload of money based on all these discoveries at Doge. There's no way they're not. If you look at what Doge is uncovering, what they're uncovering with this USAID stuff, a lot of that stuff was organizing through NGOs protests. They organized the attempt at getting Trump impeached.
I thought you were going to say killed.
They organized the impeachment.
That's come out.
They also USAID spent $50 million on the lab that invented coronavirus.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of money involved in this not working. And when you have a lot of money involved, you're going to have organized protest. When you see protests, we all want to think protests like the 1960s. Yeah, fight the war, man. It's like organic, like peace, love, and hippie shit. But that's not what this is. What this is organized, funded protests where someone is spending a lot of money and they're mobilizing other NGOs. They're using their access to these mailing lists and all these different things. They're putting these things together.
Yeah, but do you think?
You know, it takes me back to a video clip, and I wish I had that queued up, but I don't. And some of you might remember this because I believe I made a video on it. But at some of these protests, specifically, I believe it was like the college protest, there's videos. There's videos of this. I believe they were like U-Haul trucks that were pulling up to these locations that had all of these pre-made signs. Pre-made. Like professionally printed, everything put together. This wasn't like somebody at their house, you know, took one of the fathead Sharpies, you know, one of the thick joints, and, you know, scribbled something on a board and glued it to some type of stick or something, and they're out marching with that. Like, no. These were professionally made signs, all identical to one another, printed, not written out, not drawn out. These were printed. And they're just carrying out hundreds of these out of the back of these U-Haul trucks. Some of you probably remember. Let me know if you remember that video. I believe there were several of those. And that to me said, oh, somebody's paying for this. Somebody's putting a lot of money behind this. And there also was a clip of, there was two young ladies and they got asked, why are you here protesting? And they both looked at each other and was like, I don't know. You know, and they like paused, and one of them revealed that they got a text, you know, like a text from someone or some organization to come down and help the students at X college campus. Some of y'all probably remember that clip too, because I played that in like several videos because it was so hilarious watching them like, why are we here protesting? What's going on? Like they just were there. Didn't even know why they were protesting, but they had got some type of message to come down and protest, and they showed up and didn't even know why they were protesting. So like that to me screams there's some money behind this. There's somebody who's trying to organize these protests. This is not something that's organic. This is not something that is like Joe Rogan said from back in the day, like some of those old school protests where people are like all getting together at their homes, you know, and then going out to the streets, making the signs in their basements or on their kitchen table with a Sharpie, you know. No, it's not that. It's a lot of money, and I would assume that a lot of that money has come from USAID, and I would assume, this is just an assumption of mine, that a lot of this money hasn't gone to where it's been labeled it was going to. It's been lining some of these politicians' pockets. For example, how does Elizabeth Warren have a net worth of over $10 million? She makes less than $200,000 a year. I believe, I want to say that salary is like 170 something. How much do U.S. senators make? Yeah, 174. How is she worth, I believe it's $12 million on a salary of $174,000 a year? Explain that one to me. Explain it. Explain to me how Nancy Pelosi is worth $200 million on a salary of $174,000 a year. 174. Now, don't get me wrong. That's a good amount of money. Okay? 174,000 is nothing to sneeze at. But your net worth isn't going to go from bottom, right? From the bottom to $200 million on a salary of $174,000. It's not happening. It's not happening at all. And I believe even AOC even mentioned something about that once. I believe that was AOC. You know, she had a moment of truth, right? But these people are corrupt and they're hypocrites. Corrupt and hypocrites. I literally played the video of Elizabeth Warren saying, yeah, somebody broke some laws somewhere. But now all of a sudden she's completely against exposing that corruption. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out why that probably is. One, the Democrat Party is being propped up by that money, right? Kamala raised $2 billion. Okay. All of these funds, you remember the scandal from Act Blue, where I can't remember the guy's name. He got fired from his original organization, so he created a new one. Crap, I can't think of his name, but he has like undercover women like go out and date people, and they secretly record the interaction and get like these guys to just completely spill the beans to them. You guys are probably typing it right now. I believe it was him, discovered that some of these Act Blue donations are coming from some weird places. And he went to some of these folks and asked them, hey, did you donate $2,000 to Act Blue? And they're like, no. The last time I donated was 8 years ago, and I don't have $2,000 to donate. It might have been $20, but not $2,000. And that kept happening. So where's all this money coming from that these Democrats are getting? These donations. I think USA may have something to do with that. How are all these senators and congressmen and women, how is their net worth just ballooning to just astronomical numbers? I think maybe USAID has something to do with that. Why would they be screaming if it wasn't? I'm just saying. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just the guy who makes videos on the internet from time to time. I'm just thinking out loud. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. But thanks for tuning in as always. Peace and love. I'm out.